Namaste, my yoga loving friends. So, today I'm going to talk about the Yoga Sutras, and specifically, we're going to look at either 2 or 3 sutras, depending on how long this video goes, that will help you begin to apply these ancient teachings, which have stood the test of time, to your modern life. So, I'm going to start. I have some notes, so excuse me if I look like I'm reading something. I am. So, I want to start by sharing what the sutras are. And then to begin applying them, because it's amazing what you can do and what you can change. So this ancient yogic text is traditionally presented as a guide for refining the mind so you can reach the highest state of concentration and focus, which sounds fantastic, but most of us are kind of really buried in our current lives that it's hard to even begin pursuing something like higher consciousness in the midst of mayhem. And that's exactly why you should. So the focus of the Yoga Sutras is a means to an end. So we basically go through this ancient text of 196 different aphorisms, phrases, or thread sutras, and it leads to a clearer perception and the ability to know ourselves. And that ultimately results in independence from suffering, which sounds great. So very little is known about Patanjali, who is accredited with uh, making these. We're not sure if it was one person or a group of people that basically took the work of yoga and made it into these 196 verses that are very nutrient dense. They're truly amazing. And I've studied this my entire life, and I still go back to the first ones and find another meaning. The Yoga Sutras are divided up into 4 different books called Pada. Pada can be translated to limb, leg, or it's basically a part of a whole. The first one is known as Samadhi Pada, and the focus on this one is how to attain a state of yoga. So we just begin to actually change ourselves here in this first portion. The second one is Sadhana Pada. And this one is where we really refine our practice, and we start to you see fruits from the beginning, but in the second sutras, you really experience this transformation. It's amazing. The third one is the benefits of yoga practice. This is the Vibhuti Pada. And the fourth one is freedom from suffering, known as Kaivala Pada, which is the eventual goal with our consistent practice. So even though each verse is very compact, it's so rich with meaning and depth that even the most advanced student can continue to gain new insights. Um, every single word has clear meanings and connotations, which is why it's important that the sutras are learned from someone who is an experienced teacher that can help you to apply and appreciate the layers of complexity and their meaning to your life. So, as we kind of begin to endeavor these, I'm going to talk today about 3 of them, which I think are truly amazing. And these have to do with discipline. And so many people have a really negative experience with discipline because it was given to them either as a punishment or it felt like a punishment. Like, oh, I have to go to the gym and discipline every day. And because we were never really taught what's the underlying stratum or structure of what actually makes discipline a joy instead of a punishment. So the 3 sutras I'm going to talk about today address this. So the first one is number 1.14. And this one essentially talks about putting in the practice. A translation of this would be to achieve a strong foundation in our practice. We must practice over a long time without interruption, believing in it. This is very important. Looking forward to it with an attitude of service. So already you see that it's not just you have to do the thing. We're also looking at what's the underlying attitude. So whenever you undertake anything new, whether it's a relationship, a job, a course of study, Patanjali advises you to recognize there's going to be some effort involved. It's not all easy. You must consciously create the foundation you hope to build on. So everything's done very consciously. I'm going to endeavor something new. I'm going to put a foundation so that I actually succeed in the endeavor. So whether that's becoming a parent, starting a business, studying piano, taking up rock climbing, whatever you're undertaking, if you approach it with the attitude described by the sutras, you will experience more joy in the activity. And when you enjoy the activity, you're much more likely to continue doing it and create that solid foundation. So the first guideline is Dirgha Kala, or long time. This means recognizing that what we are undertaking cannot be perfected overnight. And this is a problem in modern society. We are used to a pill, a quick fix, a surgery, but things that really are valuable, they don't happen immediately. Very unlikely. So we want to cultivate this attitude of knowing I'm going to be at it for a long time. I mean, in my personal physical yoga practice, it took me 12 years of intense regular practice to be able to do a free standing forearm balance. Most people can learn it in a couple of years, but I tended to do everything wrong first. And I wasn't sure if I would get it in this lifetime or the next, but I just committed to keep trying. The end result, because I literally make every mistake in the book, is that I can teach anyone how to do forearm, handstand, headstand, all of it very safely, whatever issues. So that's an interesting thing that comes from this long time practice. We actually develop other benefits. So the next guideline translates to, it's Narantarya, which translates to no interruption. Excuse my Sanskrit pronunciation. You can do better than me. And this addresses your continued commitment to the process. You don't give up. Another way we say is abhyasa, never giving up. Your efforts have to be wholehearted, sincere, and then you'll get the result. But the attitude of a little bit here and a little bit there, you're just setting yourself up to be like, well, I can't do the thing. No, your attitude was wrong, and you didn't practice with the attitude of long duration and a regular commitment. The third guideline here, this means, and this is very important, you must have belief in what you're doing. So if we're talking about yoga and you go to study with a teacher and they're miserable, they look unhealthy, how are you going to have faith in what they're teaching? So you have to find that belief that I'm going to be able to succeed and that this is worthwhile. And if you approach a task without this attitude, with an attitude of uncertainty or that your endeavor is going to fail, just don't even do it, because this attitude at the initiation point is incredibly important. If you believe in what you're doing, your efforts are going to have a much greater impact, and it helps you maintain your momentum and enthusiasm, even in the times when you maybe don't want to get up and do the thing. So another word in Sanskrit that's part of this sutra is adara. And this is also important. It's again about attitude. This refers to the fact that you should look forward to what you're doing, your meditation practice, your chanting practice, your piano practice, your studies. You need to cultivate that you look forward to it, that it's not this, I have to do the thing. It's not a punishment. And so these things are things that we practice, because even if what you're doing is difficult or tiring, there can still be a lot of joy and satisfaction in the effort if you know that you're experiencing something positive. So whenever we try to learn a new thing, we get not only new neural pathways, we change old habits. We really do transform when we endeavor new things. So super, super important for how you can begin to cultivate this. Now, another sutra, Sutra 1.20, talks about how to tap into your inner strength. Okay. A good translation of this is, for those who are not born into higher states of consciousness or knowingness, we have to cultivate self-confidence. So again, this language of something that we're building or cultivating, and conviction. We also have to cultivate our conviction, which helps us maintain our persistence and strength. And this helps us remember the direction so that we can attain our goal of a focused mind and clear perception. So one of the words here is this word shraddha. Sometimes shroda, I've seen it different spellings. And this is translated to, we would, in the modern world, we'd say self-esteem. I really like personal conviction a little bit better. Self-confidence, determination are some of the ways this word can be translated. But really, you're making an effort to achieve greater clarity, and that conviction, that faith, it's going to be followed by the strength and persistence to remember your direction. So this is how we really apply this. Practically speaking, shraddha is your inner strength. When you're lost in the woods, getting dark, shraddha is your deep inner trust that you will find a way to make a fire, get warm, find something to eat, that you'll find a way to overcome the obstacles. And this I oftentimes refer to this as like trust that you can handle the situation in the moment as it comes, and oftentimes we get really worried about something coming up, whether it's a presentation or maybe you have you're having a sales meeting, or maybe you're being tested on something, and we'll start to create this anxiety for the future. So here we apply this faith to say, I have faith in myself that when that moment comes, I will be ready. Now, this is not a false thing. It's based on like having done the right actions and having had the commitment to whatever it is you're doing. But it's also the faith in yourself that you did put in the work. And when that moment comes, you'll be able to navigate it. And this is super, super important. So, all of these things that I've gone over so far are components of discipline, things that we practice so we become skillful in the world. And the Yoga Sutras they're timeless for a reason, because it outlines so many different points of how we can just develop ourselves in this modern world to have that clear mind, that loving heart, that presence of perception, the ability to move skillfully through our lives. So, I often don't know how I would keep it together running a company if I didn't have these teachings to come back to. And I come back to them again and again and again, using it as a map to say, okay, wait, something's feeling off in my life. Wait, hold on. Okay, now I can work on, this is where I need to discipline myself, or this is what I need to put into play, or maybe there's an ethical issue. You're able to spot, oh wait, am I being unethical there? Super, super valuable. So the last one I want to talk about is the Sutra 1.33. Now, this is also falls under discipline, right? That thing we don't like. And this comes down to align your attitude. So there's a lot of teachings in the Yoga Sutras and in yoga about how to have a good attitude towards everyone in your life. And this one translates, so here's a translation, is an attitude of friendliness towards those who are happy, compassion towards those who are suffering, pleasure and delight towards those who are doing good deeds, and non-judgmental watchfulness towards those who do harmful deeds. And this practice, so the 4 different types of people we come across, helps us to navigate so many social situations. Like, let's say, the second one, compassion towards those who are suffering. Let's say we've all been there, where you have to take care of a sick family member and you find yourself, resenting, even though the person's like really suffering, but you start resenting and feeling put upon and overburdened. And so we kind of take that not useful emotion out and we replace it with compassion. Because if you were sick and you couldn't kind of handle your life, what would you want? And these succinct and, it seems really obvious. Yes, of course. But how do we practice compassion? And that's one of the things I love, that we have many different practices to kind of help you be compassionate without getting used, because that's the other worry. Oh, I'm so compassionate and people around me just eat me. So we have to find that really proper boundary. And by recognizing that you can change your mood, learning to shift your attitude, it's a really important step to ease suffering. So you can just decide not to be resentful towards the person you have to take care of. Or like the first one here, an attitude of friendliness towards those who are happy. How many times have you been in this situation where you're like in line at the coffee shop and you're tired and you feel like kind of crap and you haven't had your coffee yet, and your friend comes up and they're just like really happy, things are going well in their life, they're on an upswing and they're kind of bubbly and you kind of can't take it, right? And so maybe you're rude. Well, here it says you practice friendliness towards those who are happy. Look, your friend's having a good day, you might not be, but what is the useful way to kind of apply? And this is actually a discipline, or I like to think of it as a skill, to be able to catch yourself in the kind of the middle of that interaction and catch your resentment or whatever emotion comes up from your happy friend, and to take the right action. It's invaluable, and this is something that we practice. So yeah, I am obviously a huge lover of this piece of work. I hope some of these explanations help you, and that you feel that you can apply it to your day-to-day life. I highly recommend diving into the Yoga Sutras and getting to know why this has stuck around for so long and seeing how you can apply it to your life. I'm going to be making more videos kind of about different sutras and what they mean and how to apply them. This is a lead up to my upcoming course on the Yoga Sutras, which starts April 6th. So if you're interested in this, message me. I'm not sure where you see this video, so just communicate with me and I will happily send you the link and other information. It's a 3-month course. We meet once a week where we go into specific sutra or sutras. Some of them we'll do 2 at a time. And then you'll get practices to help you experience the truth of it. Yeah, because it's one thing to memorize it. It's another thing to know the truth and to see, okay, it does make sense to apply this to my friend who's really happy, or to apply this teaching to the sick family member that I'm starting to resent. It's truly invaluable. So I hope you like this. It's a map to both the inside world and then the external world. So namaste.